It's season 2, episode 33, aka the Larry Bird episode of the Hall of Fame show. Evan, why would we bring up Larry Bird?
Because he is the hick from French Lick. He is the last great American Caucasian basketball player.
For many people, the first one they ever heard of.
Oh, also true. Mainly because the
was.
NBA prior to Magic and Larry was in some trouble. But yeah.
All correct answers, but the one I was looking for is you can vote for him on the creation that Evan and I have put together. www.nothalloffame.com/USA, and it's for the United States Athletic Hall of Fame. And hey, we don't care what your religion is, your party affiliation, or whether you're even vaccinated. You can vote, and you can vote every day.
Mm-hmm.
We really don't care. We just want you to vote.
That is true. Vote early, vote often. And by often, I mean once a day. That's all you can do. All of us can vote once a day.
Yeah, it is held to once a day. So Larry Bird is one of those great choices. Top 50 out of 130 will get in for the biggest and for an inaugural class, which will be held next year. So Larry Bird is a strong possibility. I voted for him. I've voted a few times because I can. And I haven't always voted for him, but more often than not.
I just think that cut line is going to be brutal. That first cut line, like as many as we're talking about, like it's entirely possible that Larry Bird is like the 30th person. You know what I mean? And that isn't by no means an indictment of Larry Bird.
No, it'll be interesting, but it'll be fun. But there's another Hall of Fame we should open up with. We talked about him last week, so we're not going to go into great depths. The Pro Football Hall of Fame has announced the contributor finalist, which will be Art McNally, and it's generally believed that it's going to be a lock that he's going to get in.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way it's not. I'm glad. I mean, last week we talked a little bit about Vermeil being the coaching one, which was a little surprising. Kind of felt like he was sixth in line, or at least fifth in line. Not that he's not Hall of Famer, just that there were certainly other people should go in before him. But he is alive. So at least he gets to enjoy it while he's alive. It's the same thing with Art McNally. McNally's 96.
Yes.
So while there are a couple other candidates who we've been talking about, particularly Ralph Hay, who's a founder of the league.
Yep.
Who is not that he's overdue, but I can't imagine anyone who's more overdue. Like, can you imagine the fact that like Paul Tagliabue is in, but not the founder of the league?
You know, when you put it in that perspective, it's very strange. And then I was thinking, and I know we touched about it on last week, but I was really thinking about it more before we went on air. The Pro Football Hall of Fame, when it comes to officials, I think you and I can agree that the NFL tries real hard to get it right when it comes with their officiating. And a big reason for that is McNally, who was the guy who brought instant replay 25 years after he got the job as head of officials.
Yeah.
So this guy was a visionary well into his golden years. Almost everything that you see on officials is based on what he did. I mean, like if Basketball Hall of Fame, we know how messed up that is with officiating, can have multiple officials, then the Pro Football Hall of Fame can have just one.
I mean, I think Donaghy's in there, isn't he?
Well, probably something based in Vegas, like the Mafia Hall of Fame or something.
Yeah, just on name recognition alone.
Yeah, Hall of Fame.
Yeah, no, but McNally is clearly going back to Hay. Hay's no longer here to enjoy it. I have no trouble with getting McNally, who's one of the top two people in my opinion. Him and Hay are the two people I think are the most deserving.
Yep.
Get him while he's alive. He's 96. Who knows how much longer he's going to be here. And of course, we had David Baker calling him and basically guaranteeing him that he was getting the Hall. I don't know if you saw that video.
I watched a bit of it, and then I remembered how much I disliked David Baker.
Hey, man, class of 2029. But apparently from what they said, and I don't know who else was up because we haven't seen that. Like we had an idea who the coaches were, and we got a leak to who all the candidates were for the senior person last week, but I didn't see anyone exactly. I heard Kraft and Hay were in the room in terms of names batted around, but I didn't say who. But apparently last year he lost out to Bill Nunn by 1 vote. And this year he got in by 1 vote over whoever the other person is. We don't know who that person is, but McNally's fully deserving. The best official every year since 2002 gets the Art McNally Award. So if the league names a award after you, that's kind of important. Of course, McNally did get the Pro Football Hall of Fame's Ralph Hay Pioneer Award in 2012. So funny that happened. But yeah, I mean, there's not much else we need to say. If you're going to have an official in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Art McNally's the guy, even if Raiders fans are pissed. So, because Raiders fans are always pissed. But the first comment under this on the NFL thing was, this POS doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame. He screwed up the immaculate deception. Like, dude, it was close to 50 years ago. The guy doesn't look like he was even alive from his picture. Calm down.
Though, I mean, isn't it funny though? Like, we know a super Raiders fan, the Raiders fan.
Yeah, that's not just a super Raiders fan. He is the Raiders fan.
Yeah, the violator, Wayne Mabry, and he's just an awesome guy.
Incredible.
Yeah. Who's also a member of 2 Halls of Fame.
What's the other one?
That's another fan Hall of Fame.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he deserves it. He's just good people.
So one thing that we haven't talked about is another one of our side projects, the Fictitious Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And we haven't talked about the fictitious halls yet that have done the semi-finalists a little while ago. And I know that unlike before, I would sort of like give them off to you and you didn't know who they were. Now they've been up, so you pretty much, I can't surprise you with these lists, but maybe some of the people listening can sort of be surprised by that. That's another thing you can just go to, the Fictitious Athlete, or Fictitious to the Fictitious Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And we've got some semi-finalists, and this was pared down, and it's interesting. I honestly, I think some serious alphabetism has taken place again, because there's about like quite a few hundred, and there's a lot of A's.
Yeah,
that got through.
A lot of A's and B's.
Yes, and a number. So we'll start off with that. First time semi-finalist from SCTV, 5 Neat Guys.
Yeah, it's SCTV for younger people was Canada's answer to SNL. Would you put it that way?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's great. I always think of Rick Moranis, and I can think of the other guy's names. 12 Days of Christmas, the Canadian version.
Dave Thomas, because he was
Dave Thomas.
He never went anywhere.
Yeah, right. So first day of Christmas that your love gave to me a beer
in a tree.
No, they didn't do that in the tree. First of all, they're like, I feel like I need something there. It just keeps going on. It gets more and more Canadian as you go.
Okay,
believe me, I have it on CD.
How do you know this better than I do?
I clearly know more about Canada than you do.
I guess so. Obviously.
Yeah, although I do have to say, I don't know if you mentioned this. I'll save it for later. But Canada was cast in a negative light today on something. So I looked at that actually, I think in my good. Canada in a negative light will get in my good, and it's not. I'm not actually mad at Canada. It's just funny that it happened. So
okay, I'm not even aware of this. It's nothing to do with winning women's hockey, which shows that I'm a jinx for everything. Because what did I say last week? That the United States are now the true queens of women's hockey. So what happens?
Yeah,
Canada takes it back.
Good for them.
I clearly am a jinx for anything. So if I mention you on this in a good way, things are going to go poorly.
I'm glad that I have you do nothing but insult me off air. So,
so we have going from that, we have Alice Bowie, returning semifinalist and previous finalist. That's basically Cheech from Cheech and Chong.
Yeah, that was Born in East LA was officially Alice Bowie and not Cheech, right?
The movie or the song?
The song. I think the song is officially credited to him. And for those of you who don't know, again, satire, that is a satire of Born in the USA.
Mm-hmm.
So I was born in East LA. Yeah. So
I think that movie, what was the whole thing? He got deported.
It's been a while since I've seen that movie.
I think it's been a while since anyone has seen that movie, including Cheech.
Do you think Cheech remembers that movie?
More than Chong.
Yeah, it's actually true.
Yeah.
That's true.
First time semifinalist, a very strong one. So well done, voters. Allie from A Star Is Born, Lady Gaga, who was incredible in this role. I'm not a fan of Lady Gaga, just one of those people I madly respect, but I don't necessarily need to see her on my TV, if that makes any sense.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but I think she's massively talented. Here's someone who's not talented. Arthur Ewing and his musical Mice. I'll let you describe that for people who don't know what that is.
I'm not probably as familiar with Arthur Ewing and his musical Mice as I should be.
Oh, well, basically, Arthur Ewing had mice that he just sort of like whacked with a mallet to make noises.
Yeah.
So that was pretty much it.
I thought it was the human version of why can't I name his name in his Muppaphone? Marvin Suggs and his amazing Muppaphone. It's I think exactly the same thing. Has Marvin Suggs ever been on your list before?
I don't think so. I think I might have messed that up.
All right, that's another one for next time. Yeah. Marvin Suggs is an amazing Muppaphone. So I guess Arthur Ewing and his musical Mice are the same. Do they do Lady of Spain as well?
I don't remember.
No, that's Marvin Suggs' big song. So
from Guitar Hero, we have Axel Steele. I don't see this one getting any further, but you never know.
Is this the furthest a video game character has gotten on this list?
Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say there aren't that many of them. So
no, I think all the Guitar Hero ones are up, but again, alphabetism. Okay, Bart Simpson is here. Do the Bart Man.
That's true.
This could never not always a semifinalist. You think it would be, but it's not. So Bart's here. Big Mountain Fudge Cake from King of the Hill. That's a first that they've made it as a semifinalist. We've got a lot of animated acts so far. I'm not sure how well this one's going to do, but I know how well this one's going to do because this was the runaway by far.
I'm going to call it now. They're going to get elected.
I think so. Buckaroo Banzai and the Hong Kong Cavaliers. So fans of this, message us because I don't get it.
Yeah, good for them. It's nice to have a cult following.
Yeah, so this got on some message board somewhere. I didn't bother to check, but all of a sudden it's like a whole shit ton of them. So I'm assuming it was a message board. I just don't think there's somebody that obsessed. Maybe there is.
I don't know.
Using a VPN over and over. I don't know.
Maybe Hong Kong is just like, we have to vote for them for anything.
Yeah. Death Clock. Yeah, Death Clock, which is an excellent one. Metalocalypse. I always mispronounce that. If you haven't sort of checked that one out on Adult Swim, you should. This is a great candidate. Someone who I'm cheering for, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to do anything. It's not like you and Claude Frollo.
Yes, me and Claude Frollo. Or actually, I'm just disappointed my band isn't here for the second year in a row. I gotta get working on getting Sing Street back. So.
This one I don't get. Dogs in Space.
I am not familiar with them at all.
It's some Australian film with the INXS lead singer.
Okay.
All right. Hey, if that's what you guys want to do, that's fine. So be it. Eddie and the Cruisers. Eddie should be in there already. He's not.
Yeah, I mean, when you're thinking of fictitious bands, Eddie's got to be way up near the top. So
absolutely. Figrin and Dan and the Modal Nodes from Star Wars. We're the same song. Finger Bang from South Park. Another boy band that's animated.
Yeah, as opposed to Faith Plus One, which is their other boy band.
Yes.
But, yeah.
Which did not make it this time as a semifinalist.
Yeah, it's made it before. So.
It has made it before. First time semifinalist from the Boondocks, Gangstalicious.
I've read the Boondocks comic, but I'm not that familiar. I'm presuming it's from the TV show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a little nice surprise. Here's another one. Gene Frankel. More cowbell.
More cowbell.
So,
yes, from the fictitious member of the non-fictitious Blue Oyster Cult.
Did I ever tell you I dated a girl who thought
the Blue Oyster Cult?
No, she was not with the Blue Oyster Cult, but she had no idea that that was a real song.
Nice.
Yeah, I think we were driving. Actually, it's your old neck of the woods, Boston. Seeing, I forget what the hell it was, and that was on so long ago. That was on my iPod.
Yeah, I still got an iPod. I still mow the lawn with my iPod. Well, I'm using the iPod in my pocket, not actually using the lawn.
Wouldn't it work better with a lawnmower?
Yeah, it's not actually. I hate my lawnmower, so it might actually work better with the iPod. It just take a lot longer.
So yeah, I had explained to her that no, this was a real band, and this was actually, they were pretty big.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We now go on a run of 4 serious candidates for the finalist list here.
Hannah Montana.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think has an excellent shot.
Yep. I mean, there's not much more to say other than even people who have never watched that show know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
So that's got to stand for something.
Gem and the Holograms.
Yep. Now that the Josie and the Pussycats got in last year, Gem and the Holograms is my new one we got to push up and over. So
I think there's an excellent shot there. Here's a good one. Jesse and the Rippers.
Yep. Best hair of any band.
Well, the next candidate's got some nice animated hair. Jessica Rabbit.
It's definitely her hair that's animated that people notice the most about Jessica Rabbit.
That's what I looked at first.
What does she see in that rabbit? He makes me laugh. So
here's an interesting one from the Jetsons. Jet Screamer.
Yeah, that's pretty random. I didn't realize there are a bunch of Jetsons fans out there at this point.
Yeah, that one sort of I thought was a little strange. Another returning semi-finalist and a finalist last year, Leather Tuscadero.
Surprise finalist last year. I think I said any of these bands could get in except for Leather Tuscadero last year. So I guess making a finalist wouldn't be that surprising, but I wouldn't expect her to get elected this year.
Lurleen Lumpkin, first time semi-finalist.
Yep. Major minor character in Simpsons lore.
One of my favorite episodes.
Yep. A very, very important character in the development of Homer as not a complete and utter idiot.
Michigan J. Frog returns.
Responsible for the complete destruction of a man's life. That's very few other people on this you could say.
Many times.
Yeah. They just keep putting him back in that box in different time capsules and different buildings.
How does he eat through all this?
I'm sorry?
Like, how does he stay alive?
Spite. Just spite. The souls, he's an eldritch demon and survives in the souls he steals through his singing and antics.
All right.
There you go.
Those were always my least favorite of the Looney Tunes.
The Michigan J. Frog?
Yeah, stupid.
Yeah.
Ming T first.
I'm sorry. I was gonna say my least favorite of the Looney Tunes is the most recent Space Jam. So
yeah, I could easily say Elevator Down, Bugs Bunny.
Michigan J. Frog was not in Space Jam though, so he had nothing to do with it.
No, I fast forwarded through most of that. Ming T, the Austin Powers Band.
Yeah, I mean, if you like Austin Powers, there's your vote.
Yeah, no, they're actually not bad. Featuring Susanna Hoffs is one of the people. In that
True,
group.
They're pretty groovy, baby.
Mm-hmm. Nick the Lounge Singer, Bill Murray from Saturday Night Live.
Speaking of groovy, baby, no, a little bit different than that. Yeah, but yeah, very good SNL character. Bill Murray, very, very nice and popular man. So,
and the front man of Sexual Chocolate, Randy Watson.
Mr. Randy Watson.
Who yes. I think, even though I did hate coming number 2 America, I did pop when Randy Watson made an appearance.
Yeah. A dark horse candidate. If Randy Watson makes the finals, it would not shock me. I'd be surprised, but I wouldn't be shocked if Randy Watson got all the way in.
It'd be nice. Ricky Ricardo is back.
Yeah, the definitely the worst part of the I Love Lucy show, but again, one of the most famous folks. You never watched I Love Lucy probably because you never lived with an 88-year-old lady like I did. I lived with an 88-year-old, my 88-year-old great aunt for a year, and we watched a lot of Nick at Night. So
Yeah, we didn't have that in Canada.
We watch a lot. I Love Lucy isn't bad, except Ricky Ricardo's not the best. The single worst show, by the way, was Green Acres. Green Acres is a hideous, horrendous show.
It's a theme song and nothing else.
Pretty much. The best show, I have to say, I had never seen Vic Morrow's Combat before, which is like black and white following, almost like Band of Brothers, only as an actual TV show. And like characters would die each week. It was like 1958. And I was just like, I didn't realize that actually happened on TV. That show is really good. And of course, the original Mission Impossible is so much better than the movies. Like that was a great show. So Ricky Ricardo, he'll probably get in at some point. I don't think he's getting in this year.
Here's some multi-time finalists. Sex Bob-omb.
Or you missed one though.
What did I miss?
You missed Schroeder.
Oh, I missed Schroeder. All right. That might have been subconscious. I'd never vote for this guy.
Well, he's a cosmic balance to Lucy pulling the football out on Charlie all the time. She's entirely love with Schroeder, and Schroeder completely ignores her because he loves his piano so much. It's the cosmic balance.
Okay, I've never looked at it that way.
It just occurred to me that way.
All right. So Sex Bob-omb and Steel Dragon.
Yeah, I mean, Sex Bob-omb, part of the Eisenberg uncertainty principle. You're not sure whether the actor in the movie is Jesse Eisenberg or Michael Cera.
Well, usually I can tell them apart because I mean, like Jesse Eisenberg. Jesse Eisenberg?
Yeah, Jesse.
Okay, Jesse Eisenberg is sort of at least doesn't seem like somebody I want to punch in the head, and I always want to punch Michael Cera.
True, but they basically play the same character in pretty much every movie. It's one or the other.
Yeah, but I only want to punch one of them.
Oh. There you go.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The Archies, another excellent shot.
Yeah, another one of the ones that just seems that it's amazing they're still here.
Yeah, they've actually went to number one at one point in time. One that just always is a finalist, the B Sharps.
Yep. There were originally 5 of them, and then there ended up only being 4. Is that right? They cut Chief Wiggum. Can't remember that episode.
Was it Chief Wiggum replaced?
Or was Chief Wiggum may have been replaced. I don't remember right now, but yeah.
Apu has magically disappeared from Springfield, so I guess a reunion is not going to happen anytime.
Well, I'm wondering if Apu could come back if he was voiced by a person of Indian descent.
I'm sure they looked at that possibility.
Maybe. This is interesting because, yeah, I understand the sentiment because that's basically the way that everybody interacted with a lot of Indian people. Their only way of knowing them was Apu, or I guess Fisher Stevens' character in Short Circuit, which of course is another problematic thing because Fisher Stevens, as his name would indicate, not Indian. So
it was a different time back then, we'll just say.
Yes, the 1980s when all the hijinks were either racist or rapist.
Yes, and now it's so far the other way that nothing's funny.
Probably true.
Yeah, but a debate for another time. The California Raisins, they're raisins. Guys, why'd you vote for this? But, all right,
they're the top claymation band on this list.
That's one way to push it. An excellent film with and this one should get in. It just hasn't yet, and it's Criminal: The Commitments.
Yeah, really good film, but again, I think there are just a lot more better known names on this list. So
this one I can't figure out for the life of me. The Oreos? Really, guys?
I literally have no idea other than that's a picture of Barbara Streisand. I can't tell you anything about them.
It's the first Star is Born, or the second Star is Born.
I saw the first Star is Born from the 1940s. I haven't seen the second one.
So this is her version. And I honestly didn't think I had a lot of Streisand fans visit my stuff. I guess I only needed a few.
Yeah, apparently.
So there you go. The Partridge Family, another excellent candidate that I think will get their due at one point. And the School of Rock.
Jack Black. The shortest funny man in Hollywood. Oh, sorry, other than Kevin Hart. But he's a very diminutive man. So, but Jack Black is, I can't think of anything Jack Black is not good in.
Well, I'm sure there's been a few. The Gulliver Travel.
Oh, I've never saw Gulliver's Travel, so that I can't speak.
But like pretty
much anytime Jack Black shows up, he's going to at least do a good job. So, High Fidelity. I love his character in High Fidelity. Jumanji 1 and 2, the new ones are fantastic. He's awesome in them. Yeah. Anyway, School of Rock, also excellent film. One of the actors, of course, we brought up, passed away. He got hit on his bicycle back in May or June.
Just a few weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't that long ago.
So yeah, that's something we're going to look at probably more of the fictitious semi-finalists next week, unless there's just so much for us to talk about. But we'll see.
Yeah. I just want to get this out of the way because I think at some point here I'm going to start my list, and I'm doing it way less because I get so busy, of the top acts eligible for the Rock Hall for the first time this year.
Maybe you'll finish one this time.
Maybe I'll finish one. I got real close. I got to number 7, and then I had to write about Rammstein, and I didn't want to do it. So now I'm just.
But you have to do it.
I know. There you go. Right on the tee. Boom. Yeah. So I didn't want to do it. So this year I'm going to just go with just the base facts on them, so I don't have to do the whole bio. So
anyone who's tuning in for Kirk Shitbox, which is my weekly thing where I just talk about whatever the hell it is, I don't have anything. There's nothing I feel that passionate about. It's maybe I'm just in a great mood all week. Nothing's really ticking me off. I mean, there are a few things that I think were a little silly, but to really sort of like live up to the shitbox, I had nothing shitbox worthy.
So what you're saying is you've cleaned out the shitbox.
I've emptied out the shitbox. It is, yeah. So maybe there'll be something just so shitty next week that I will be overflowing. The shitbox will be overflowing.
We really just need to get Emma involved with this.
So should we just go to the untimely passings, which thank God is not as bad as last week?
No, there are a lot of little ones here and there, but no, we had a couple big names we should probably talk about. But let's start in the world of, I'll put it this way. I will say we did lose our 1992 Nobel Prize winner in chemistry. Edmund Fischer died at the age of 101. He, of course, got his Nobel Prize in physiology or medicine, for describing how reversible phosphorylation works and switch to active proteins and regulate various cellular processes.
No wonder that got rejected. Somebody beat me to it.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry to hear that happened. But yeah, Edmund Fischer was 101. So from the world of football, we lost a couple. We lost Junior Coffey, who was a running back on the 65 Green Bay Packers that won the NFL championship. He also played with the Falcons and Giants. He passed away at the age of 79. I don't know from what, but after he retired, he became a thoroughbred horse trainer.
Okay.
So,
interesting.
Yeah. So 2,037 rushing yards his career, but a member of the 65 Packers. We also lost Cecil Saunders, who is thought to be the oldest living NFL player, who passed away at the age of 100. He played for the Lions from 47 through 49 as an end and a tackle, but also had 17 career receptions and 1 touchdown. So he also played with the Ohio All-Stars against the Florida All-Stars in the Kumquat Bowl in St. Petersburg, Florida in 1938. He was captain of his team, and they played to a 0-0 tie. So,
Kumquat Bowl.
Kumquat Bowl, and the LSU was so impressed with his 0-0 tie while captaining the team, he got a full scholarship. So,
Kumquat.
Well, it was originally
Kumquat is.
What?
I don't even know what a kumquat is.
It's fruit that allegedly exists, but it's probably some sort of conspiracy. So, yeah. So he had a free ride at LSU, and then Ohio State found out he was going to go to LSU, and they gave him a free ride. So there you go. He also went to serve with the Navy in World War II, which is why he had a shorter career there. But he was 100, as far as we know, the oldest living NFL player. I do not know who the current one is, but he was the oldest as far as we know. We also lost from the world of hockey, Vladimir Shadrin, who is a two-time gold medalist for the USSR in the 72 and 76 Olympic Games. Also was the coach of the team for a while. He's a member of the Russian and Soviet Hockey Hall of Fame. And he was on the team that lost to Team Canada in the 72 Summit Series.
I don't think he played all that much behind Tretiak.
No, Shadrin was the second leading scorer on that team.
Oh, second leading scoring. Oh, I thought you said goalie. Okay.
No. He was a coach. He was a coach eventually of the Russian team at one point.
Okay.
But he was 73.
Mm-hmm.
We lost from the world of, we'll go into music here. There's a bunch of little ones. So Dave Harper from Frankie and the Heartstrings, a British indie band, no more for their partying than anything else, passed away. He was a drummer. So the drummer of a partying band passing away. I know that sounds pretty hackneyed, but that's what happened. I don't have a reason or an age, but he is essentially probably late 30s. They're called the indie Motley Crew for Frankie and the Heartstrings, if that means anything.
That says everything, though it doesn't.
That does say pretty much everything. Mm-hmm. We lost R&B singer Sam Salter at age 46. There's no cause given, but he had, 1, 2, 3, 4 charting songs, R&B hip hop songs, including a song from 2000, Once in My, I believe, Shoes, which was #1 on the Bubbling Under charts, which I don't even know what they are. But he passed away at the age of 46. We lost from Iron Butterfly, Ron Bushy, their drummer, best known for his work in In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida. He probably died from exhaustion from that song.
That would kind of be the only thing you'd be known for if it's Iron Butterfly.
That is true.
Yeah.
But yeah, he passed away at the age of 79. Mm-hmm. So he is the third member of the In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida lineup for them to have passed away. There's only one left. Doug Engel is the last surviving member of Iron Butterfly at this point. We also lost gospel singer Lee Williams, passed away at the age of, at the age of 75 from Alzheimer's disease. Just mention him. He's real big in gospel, but that's not something we deal with a bunch. So, but I just want to include him.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. We lost John Drake, the singer of one of the singers of the Amboy Dukes, the American Amboy Dukes. So the main singer, of course, being Ted Nugent. What?
There's 2 versions of the Amboy Dukes?
There's a British version and an American version. Right, and so they start calling themselves the American Amboy Dukes before the other ones broke up, and then they just became Amboy Dukes.
But this is the one that had Nugent in it as
well. So Nugent was the lead guitarist and then eventually became the vocalist. John Drake. So the first vocalist was a guy named Bob Laynard, who left the band in 1972. Who left the band before that. He ended up with the band Acrobat, released a single in 1972. But after he left, John Drake took over as the singer along with Nugent. So he was their singer for a couple of years in there. He passed away at the age of 74. And from one of those sidemen again has passed away. American drummer Kenny Malone passed away from COVID at the age of 83. One of those session drummers who only recorded with, I always love these lists, these session guys.
Mm-hmm.
Carl Perkins, Ray Charles, George Jones, Johnny Cash, Dobie Gray, David Allen Coe, Merle Haggard, Crystal Gale, Charlie Pride, Floyd Kramer, Dr. Hook, Barbara Mandel, Johnny Paycheck, Kenny Rogers, Bella Fleck, BJ Thomas, Emmylou Harris, Ricky Skaggs, JJ Cale, Dolly Parton, among others. So other than that, you haven't heard him on anything.
Yeah, other than that.
Yeah, so Kenny Malone was 83. He was probably more known for, he had a really weird style of drumming. He had like it's a weird style of hand drumming. But he passed at 83 from COVID. In the world of rugby, which we don't talk about very much, Neil Brendel passed away, who is the head of the U.S. Rugby, chairman of USA Rugby, first national team player ever to get to the top of the union. He passed away at the age of 66 from mesothelioma. But that leads us into another person who led an organization. Jacques Rugg passed away. Former head of the International Olympic Committee, the 8th head of them, took over for Juan Antonio Samaranch, who was probably the most corrupt man in the history of the Olympics.
So which says an awful lot.
Which says an awful lot. So Rogue, by comparison, was downright pure as snow. But still, of course, the IOC had some issues. But he passed away. He was 79 when he passed away. He had been suffering from Parkinson's, but it didn't say actually what the reason he passed away was.
You ever see that Spider-Man meme where it's the two things just like pointing at each other?
Yeah, of course.
Don't you feel that way about like the IOC, NCAA, and FIFA?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So he actually participated in 3 Summer Olympic Games in 68, 72, and 76 as a yachting for Belgium. He actually was a world champion in yachting.
Before you said, I was going to see if I could make a guess. He just sounds like a fence.
All right. Well, how about this? He was also a 16-time Belgian national champion in what other sport?
Fencing.
No.
Okay.
It's a team sport.
Rowing.
Nope. I've brought it up already.
Rugby.
Okay. 16-time national champion in rugby and 1-time world yachting champion. That is a diverse skill set.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. So, but he was 79 when he passed. So, all right. That gets us to the big name in entertainment, of course, is the last surviving member of the Mary Tyler Moore Show, the irascible, lovable.
Mm-hmm. He's not the last surviving member
of the main 6. Yes, he is.
Okay.
Betty White is still alive. Yes.
John Amos is still alive.
John Amos is still alive?
Isn't he?
John Amos is still alive.
Okay.
But I was thinking of the main 6 there. Okay, so so he was the last one standing. He was 91. I actually, for every time one of my agents doesn't dress appropriately at work, I show them his clip of Casual Friday from Curb Your Enthusiasm, which if you haven't seen, it is a 1.5 minutes long. There's a lot of swearing involved, I will warn you, but it just basically eviscerates Casual Friday.
And we're talking, of course, about Ed Asner.
Oh, Ed Asner. Oh, yeah, I never actually said Ed Asner. Sorry. So Ed Asner passed away at the age of 91. So
long, glorious career, really. Someone who, based on how fast he aged, let's just be blunt, not exactly someone who had sort of like the matinee looks, but was always working. Kids know him as probably as I don't know the character name. I apologize, but
Lou Grant.
Well, no, but I'm talking like kid, like younger listeners would be like for Pixar. Thank you. I don't remember.
Yeah, Carl Fredericks.
Okay, thanks. So like he was even in the Boondocks. We were just talking about that before, playing a character in that.
I mean, he won a Emmy for his performance in Roots.
That's right. Yeah, I learned that he was actually the first guy to win an Emmy playing the same character, who won it in a comedy role and as a drama role.
Mm-hmm.
So like that, I don't know if anyone's done that since, but
yeah, it's hard to imagine because he got 5 for Mary Tyler Moore Show and 2 for Lou Grant, which was a spinoff of Mary Tyler Moore. Mary Tyler Moore had several spinoffs, which did pretty well. So
yeah. Was a Rhoda, Phyllis? I don't know.
Yeah, there are a couple of them. Rhoda and Lou Grant, of course, being the most famous.
Lou Grant.
I mean, he was Bart Jason in El Dorado up against the bad guy for John Wayne's character.
Mm-hmm.
He was, I mean, Santa Claus and Elf.
Yep. He can do everything.
Yeah, I mean, he was like all over everywhere and just one
JFK
of the most
too, wasn't he?
He may have been at JFK. Let's see here. I can actually look at that. I'm going off the top of my head here. So
yeah. Myself too. But yeah, just someone who had a super long career and was always working. Always, like right into the end. And
yep,
I honestly think that his character or his voice character in Up is, I think, probably one of the greatest animated performances vocal ever. That's what he was able to convey. I really believe that. Not that I'm an expert on animation, because I'm not, but
well, I'm also looking at his voice acting career.
Mm-hmm.
He was J. Jonah Jameson in Spider-Man. He was Hoggish Greedley on Captain Planet, Jabba the Hutt on the radio version of Star Wars.
And no, there was a radio version of Star Wars.
I didn't either. I remember him as Cosgrove on Freakazoid. The Cosgrove was the what do you call it? The security guard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, he was all over the place. So just an incredible guy, very involved in the Screen Actors Guild, very involved in different charities and things along those lines, and just a wonderful man.
Career. Yeah,
absolutely wonderful man.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
all right.
And of course, I'm sorry, I lost one.
Who's that?
The biggest name of the week, I think, at least in our terms of us, who passed away, Lee Scratch Perry.
Yes.
Jamaican record producer and reggae singer.
Major pioneer in everything involving reggae. Doesn't get his due outside of the genre.
Correct.
I mean, for so many people, it's Marley and they don't know anything else.
Yeah, and I remember when Jimmy Cliff got into the Rock Hall, he was shocked. He's like, I never thought they'd put a second reggae guy in.
Neither did I.
Yeah, but yeah, Lee Scratch Perry. I mean, it's just the number of. I'm just looking at his number of albums he's put out.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I can't even count. There's at least 70 albums that he put out either on his own or with the Upsetters or a couple other things that he did. Yeah, it's amazing how much he did. I mean, he was putting out in the 70s, he was putting out 3-4 albums a year at that point, which is remarkable. So,
which is very, very influential. If you haven't sort of like listened to some Lee Scratch Perry, do so. It's right at your fingertips now. Pretty much can listen to anything. But yeah, glad you brought that one up. So I guess we only have
he was 85.
85.
I would point that out. So.
Yeah. So I guess we only have 2 sections left. It's elevator up, elevator down, where I look at, hey, who based on their last week, or sometimes I go longer, made a better Hall of Fame case and has their elevator going up. And I got someone we haven't really talked about that much, or maybe at all. And it's more a reflection of what he's done all year. So I'm going to baseball. And people aren't talking about him very much. And I can see why, because he's on a shitty team.
Mike Trout? Okay.
No, not Mike Trout. Although on that team, you see Ohtani get a steal home.
Yeah. There are people who are saying that Vlad Guerrero Jr. is going to win the MVP. They are nuts. Vlad Guerrero Jr. is having a season that probably 3 years out of 5 would get you a MVP. Mm-hmm. But there's no way anyone's beating Ohtani this season. No. He's just doing stuff nobody's ever seen.
I think the best stat somebody said on Twitter, I don't know who it was, and I wish I remembered so I can credit that individual. But he says like the most incredible stat that Ohtani has this year is that Vladimir Guerrero will not get a single first place vote.
Yeah. Because he's having a ridiculous year. He's going to finish second.
Yeah.
But he's going to finish second with no first place votes.
Right. So the guy I'm going to talk about today is also in the American League. He's never finished in the top 10 in MVP voting, but I think that will end this year. Someone, if you look at the advanced metrics of WAR, isn't someone you talk about much. Mm-hmm. But he's having the best year that he's ever had in most aspects. His strikeouts are super high, but I'm talking about Salvador Perez.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So if you want to sort of like bring up his stat, I'm doing that now. So he's having his best power numbers. I think last time I checked, he was at 38 home runs or 36 for the year, which is the best.
38 homers, 94 RBI, and 1 stolen base, which has got to lead the league for catchers.
So 7-time All-Star now. He's going to get his 4th Silver Slugger for sure. Not sure about the Gold Glove, but the Silver Slugger will definitely come. Perez
has the World Series ring.
Has the World Series ring. Has the respect. People love him, as pitchers love him. And if we were to do an all-decade team, and I'm going to actually go back and do that, Perez for the 2010s would be probably 3rd team behind Posey and Molina. But if you look at pure American League, he's 1st.
Yeah.
So he's not at 30 in terms of WAR, but that is.
I'm trying to think who even else would be there. I mean, Mauer was mostly done at that point.
Unless they want to throw Sanchez in there, but even then, like if you wanted to, if I wanted to stock pure league.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Perez.
Okay.
Yeah. So Perez, like he's got 2 big things against him. One, his on-base percentage is terrible. The fact that he's had this year and last year just brought him over 300 lifetime, because he was below that before. So it's always going to hurt his WAR, but he's been a great clutch hitter when it counts. He's going to have his first 100 RBI season, and we're not in an era anymore where you've got a lot of great hitting catchers. We had that for a bit, and now it just sort of seemed to have slumped for whatever reason.
Yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, just the whole, well, maybe it's a crackdown on performance enhancing drugs, but like there just aren't many of them anymore.
No. So here's someone who I think will get a little bit more overall thing, and he'll have to sort of like overcome his advanced stats. And this is a year that really helps him, especially if he gets maybe a top 5 finish, which he could. That'll be hard to do, because there's also, you've got some Red Sox on your team that are just incredible. You've got
presuming they all don't get COVID and can't play anymore.
Well, yeah, Judge is going to get some votes. There's a lot of
Devers will definitely get some votes.
Yeah, there's a lot of great players on the American League. Just phenomenal talent. Even on other teams that aren't contending, like Cleveland, like Ramirez is doing very, very well this year, and he should get some MVP votes, not consideration. I mean, because
right.
Yeah. So that's someone I just thought would be interesting to bring up, because this is his best offensive year that he's ever had. Mm-hmm. And if he compiles, let's say if Perez gets to a 300 home run plateau, adds a few more All-Stars, and in the American League, he very well could.
Yeah, I mean, he's at 190 career home runs right now and 1,130 hits.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he'd at least need to get into 300 homers and 2,000 hits.
Right.
And probably get in there. I don't know if he's got enough time. He's 31. Catchers tend to wear out by the time they're 34, 35. So he probably wouldn't be a full-time player. So he's got about 4 years in order to get that done.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say he has 138 hits this year. This is his best year. Let's just say averages like 120. Say he gets to 1,150 just for the heck of it.
Right.
If he averages 120 over the next 5 years, now we're at another 600. We're in the ballpark. You know what I mean? Of where we need to be.
And conceivably, he could become a 10-time All-Star. That
will also make a difference.
Yeah. So I think if people look at who we're comparing him against his peers, he comes off a lot better than just a flat series of numbers looks like. So I thought that might be an interesting.
Yeah, because historically he's not going to stand up. But actually, I'm looking at Baseball Reference here.
Mm-hmm.
Baseball Reference. Yeah,
because he's not even at 30 for WAR. And most of that's attributed to his very poor OBP.
Okay. So let's see, 7-time All-Star, World Series winner. So he is.
And also, while you're looking at that, staying with one team that also helps.
That also makes a difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's 44th in Jaws. For Hall of Fame monitor, he's a 44 for batting, a likely Hall of Famer being 100. Hall of Fame standards is 26, likely Hall of Famer being a 50. The most similar players to him are Darren Fletcher, Mike Lieberthal, Matt Wieters, Charles Johnson, Jonathan Lucroy. Oh, Mike McFarland, another great Kansas City catcher right there. Miggy Montero, Michael Barrett, Miguel Olivo. And guys through age 31, the most common with him are Javi Lopez, Terry Kennedy, Del Crandall, Benito Santiago.
The second list sounds a hell of a lot better than that first one.
It does. Ramon Hernandez, Todd Hundley, and the only person on this list who's a Hall of Famer, Carlton Fisk.
Mm-hmm. But Perez feels like such an outlier in that whole group. Like, and again, it goes back to, and I don't want to say that WAR is wrong. I don't think that it is, but it does put a premium on base percentage. And that's always been the weakest part of his offensive game. Well, he's not exactly someone on the base paths. You're thinking, okay, well, I think he's going to steal,
Yeah.
So that was someone I thought would be an interesting sort of look. And I always like to come up with somebody fresh that we haven't talked about.
Yeah, we definitely have not talked about Salvador Perez at any point in this whole podcast. So,
but here's someone we have talked about for Elevator Down, and Cam Newton, who
I don't know what happened. As a Patriots fan, I'm unfamiliar with what happened with him this week.
Yes. So Cam Newton, 2 years ago, I think when we first started discussing this stuff, as someone, and I'm a diehard Saints fan, and Evan's a Patriots fan. So Cam Newton was somebody I dreaded, scared the hell out of me. Whenever we see EC Carolina in the lineup, like, oh God, what's Cam going to do to us? Cam, I thought, was done wrong by the Panthers when he got hurt and then they didn't give him a chance. And then I think after what we saw him in New England, well, they were right. Cam's not Cam anymore. And I certainly thought, I think you would have thought the same, and if not, please say so, that Cam was going to start this year for New England and he was on a short leash for Mac Jones.
I thought that as little as 10 days ago after the Philadelphia preseason game. I thought that.
Right. So now he doesn't have a job. I don't know where he's going to wind up, if anywhere.
Houston.
Maybe. I read Dallas might be a landing spot.
Yeah, I mean, if he's smart, he'll hold out for Houston because they're either going to trade him They're either going to trade him to Miami. First of all, what the Dolphins want, given his legal issues, is insane.
Talking about Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson. Sorry. Yeah. I just keep talking about people without mentioning who I'm talking about.
Good.
Yeah. So Deshaun Watson's legal issues are well documented on the show. But they're looking for 3 firsts and 2 seconds, which the only team dumb enough to make that trade is the Houston Texans. So I don't know what they're expecting, because Miami's not going to make that trade for them.
No.
So they're either going to trade him to Miami. Miami's pretending they're not interested, but they are super interested. So they either make that trade to Miami, or he's going to get suspended, and they're going to need somebody. And their backup quarterbacks are.
I don't even know these guys.
Yeah, they are. To say that they are no names. Let's see. Texans QB depth chart.
I think they announced who was going to be the starter, and I had never heard of him.
It is. Well, it's Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah, but he's not the starter, though, is he? I didn't think he won the job. Who's the backup? Who's the other
Davis
guy?
Mills?
Okay, then I heard someone else.
Well, yeah.
By the way, I've never heard of Davis Mills.
But officially from their website, it's Tyrod Taylor, Davis Mills, and Deshaun Watson. I don't think that I understand Cam not wanting to back up Mac Jones because he's a rookie. He doesn't want to be in that situation. I get it. Maybe he wants to back up Dak. I'm not sure whether or not he would want to do that, but his best chance to play legitimately is Houston.
Skip and Shannon said today that they thought that part of the reason that the Patriots let him go was because he's not vaccinated.
I don't think that may have somewhat to do with it. I mean, Belichick flat out said no about that. I think more than anything, it had to do with the fact, as a Patriots fan, I back up. As a Patriots fan, am I shocked that Mac Jones is named the starter? No, I'm not. He played really, really well this spring and into the games. He clearly knew what he was doing. He made decisions much faster than Newton did. He outplayed Newton. There's no question on that. Am I shocked that Newton was released? Yes.
Yeah.
But part of that is probably the fact that Newton has a lot of respect in the locker room. And if you're going to have your rookie start, why have the other guy hanging around? And part of it's also 2 things. One, it actually would have cost them more to trade him. They would have counted more against the salary cap to trade him than to just release him. And 2, there's literally not a bad word has come out about Newton from the Patriots. Like nothing bad. People were on Belichick on his press conference not saying anything about Newton, but there wasn't a good way to talk about Newton that wasn't going to trash him in that circumstance. He was doing great. Then why did you release him? Like there's no upside to talk about him. So letting him go allows him to go wherever he's going to go. Now the question is there anywhere for him to go?
I don't know. And he's just not the same guy anymore. And he's clearly in pain.
Well, he looked significantly better this preseason than he did last year. Well, last year after COVID, because he looked pretty good the first few games, and then he got COVID, and then he was not as good.
I'm still cheering for him as long as he's not against the Saints, of course. But it's going to be hard to see for him to sort of like accumulate everything that he needs to get into that Hall of Fame discussion. And we're looking at a former MVP, someone who brought his team to the Super Bowl. And that feels like 10 years ago, and it wasn't.
Yeah. It wasn't. And honestly, the enduring image of that Super Bowl is him not diving for that loose ball.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the fact he got there and was MVP and everything is all mitigated by the fact he didn't dive for one loose ball. Now, I know we talked about Julian Edelman on this before, saying that Edelman's entire Hall of Fame case rests on the fact he's number 2 in receiving yards in the playoffs all time, and number 2 in receptions. I'm sorry. Yeah. He's also number 2 in receiving yards in the playoffs all time as a receiver. Cam Newton's entire argument rests on the fact that he is number 1 in rushing touchdowns for quarterbacks all time. He's got 70 in his career.
That was something he still actually did well. For New England last year.
Yes,
he was a better rusher than he was a passer, I thought.
Yeah, I agree. No, he definitely was, but that was part of the problem, is that he was very one-dimensional because he couldn't hit anybody. Like, he couldn't hit anyone who was wide open.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, he is, where is he? He is 32nd all time in rushing touchdowns. He has more rushing touchdowns than Hall of Famers like Steve Van Buren, Thurman. He has more rushing touchdowns than Thurman Thomas, which is crazy to me. Larry Zonka, Lenny Moore, Terrell Davis, Paul Hornung, John Henry Johnson. There are a lot of Otto Graham is a quarterback. Otto Graham, I think, maybe second in rushing touchdowns.
Oh, wow.
He had 44. I'm trying to find someone ahead of him. That's
crazy.
Floyd Little, 43. Yeah, he had 44. Let me look up here. Yeah, I don't. That's Kurt Warner, the running back there. Yeah, I think that Otto Graham is second in QB rushing touchdowns. That's amazing with 44. Who would have thought? By the way, every time they come up with the 10 greatest quarterbacks in NFL history thing, and you never get anyone before the merger, Otto Graham was so goddamn good.
7 titles.
Absolutely ridiculous. And just every time in one of these things, the furthest back they might go is Bart Starr. And Otto Graham is just way better than some of the other people they brought. I actually saw a top 10 list that had Troy Aikman on it the other day. And not Otto Graham. So,
Donovan McNabb was really pissed off when he saw that one.
Oh my God.
But yeah, so that's my elevator down. I would have had another one, but I know you're kind of going to go there. And I think we'll sort of close off why I would say that at this point. Yeah. So our hammer is, again, your good, the bad, and the ugly of the week in sports. We got to time this better. You think?
I know. Well, it's our literal 45 seconds of preparation that we do on a weekly basis.
We're doing better.
Hey, we are. We're up from 36 seconds. So
that's what my wife said to me the other night.
Wow, that is what she said. Hey, the fact you're still even doing it at this point is a pretty good sign.
Thank you.
So, wow, I don't believe I just said that out loud. In terms of this, just by the way, one last thing I think we want to talk about. We should do some prop bets for the NFL.
I got one. I got one.
So why don't we do that now, since we just talked about Newton? I'm not going to talk about football again. So why don't we do them now?
Okay. You've got a flawed team. I've got a flawed team.
Okay.
Who gets further? Not better record, further. Saints, Patriots.
I'll take that. It's the Patriots. They're close. Right. Saints aren't making the playoffs. Patriots are going to win their division.
Well, they're not.
Yes, they are.
They are so not.
That Bills team is going to be in complete disarray. The Patriots are going to win that division. There's another beer bet for you.
Fine, done.
Yeah, because that's easy. Patriots.
All right, so if you're that confident, then you'll give me like a game. Then you'll give me a game and a half. Then
a game and a half for record.
If they both don't make the playoffs.
Well,
because let's say hypothetically the Patriots get in the playoffs on a top seed, Saints squeak in on a lower one, right? But whoever gets further, so it could be a push if they're both eliminated. So
it'd be a push if they're both. So if they both get eliminated in the wild card round, it's a push. Sure, I'll give you a game and a half.
Game and a half. Okay, so because that only works if not the team makes the playoffs.
Here's the thing: the Patriots had the year from hell last year. Their defense is going to be the best defense in the AFC. Right. So as long as Matt Jones doesn't throw a whole bunch of interceptions, they're going to be a running team anyway. They're going to be a running play action team that they tried to be last year, but Cam Newton couldn't do it.
Okay.
So this is very much the 2001 Patriots again. Although we just don't need Mo Lewis to knock out the incumbent quarterback.
All right.
The Patriots are going to win their division. I will even say I'm pretty sure it's going to come down to Mac Jones and Trevor Lawrence for Rookie of the Year. And if Mac Jones leads the Patriots to playoffs, I think he's got an upper hand over Lawrence, whose team is not that great around him. Lawrence is going to get killed by his offensive line situation. So he's going to be running for his life most of the year.
Mm-hmm.
But
good thing he's got a flowing head of hair. It's sort of like run around. It'll look beautiful.
Yeah. So here's a question for you.
Yeah.
What team? Let's do a bet on what team, or you can even pick a division.
Mm-hmm.
You think the number one draft pick is going to come out of? What team is the worst team in the league? Do you want to do it by team or division?
I think the Texans are going to be the worst. What are they, AFC South?
So you want AFC South? I will take the NFC East.
Okay.
Those teams are, all four of them are going to finish under 500.
Very well could, but then they're beating up on each other to get a few here and there.
I don't think it matters for the Eagles. That Eagles team is really bad. Like really bad. The one team we didn't see in preseason as the Patriots was the Cowboys. Mm-hmm. We played the Giants, we played the Eagles, I'm going to already start calling them the Red Wolves because that's going to be their name next year. Mm-hmm. We played all those teams. The Red Wolves Washington team was the best of those three teams. And the Washington team had what I would normally say is 6-10 written all over it. Right. I'll give them, they're going to be 6.
So there's our third bet. I'm already going to lose them all because I always lose everything. So
last one. What week do the Bears change their quarterback?
3.
Week 3. I'm going to go with week 5. So let's say over under 4.5.
Okay.
So you would, or let's say over under 5.
4 is the push.
Yeah. So let's say over under 4. So 4 is a push.
Okay.
So 4 is a push. You got week 3. I think week 5, and if it's after week 8, then it's off. So
if it makes it 5, then you've already won.
Right, but my point is, if it doesn't happen on week 9, I think I'm trying to make it fair.
Okay.
So so you get 1 through 3. I'll get 5 through 7, or I don't know what week their bye is. So you get 1 through 3. I'll get 5 through 7, and then anything other than that.
Why don't I just buy you a goddamn keg? Jesus Christ.
I will have to say the Bears fans here are super depressed over the fact that the Red Rocket is a quarterback at the moment.
Fields has been great though, just the way he's handling it.
I told you, Fields is the guy who I wanted for the Patriots. I'm very happy Mac Jones is there. He just looks competent. The Dolphins, we'll find out this weekend, but just by the way, what a quarterback room for the Alabama Crimson Tide 2 years ago. The 3 quarterbacks they had were Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa, and Mac Jones, and all 3 of them are starters in the NFL this on week 1, and 2 of them are playing there. Tua and Mac are playing each other.
Alabama is just such a factory.
It's ridiculous.
It is.
We'll see. But anyway, okay. With all that out of the way, I just want to go through a few.
Yeah, you just want to fleece me out of more booze. I may never visit Chicago just for this reason.
I'll sweeten the deal by, if you do visit Chicago, I'll make sure you don't have to have any Malort. So
I don't even know what that is.
Malort is a Swedish drink, which is one of the 4 worst alcohols I've ever had in my entire life.
That's not the one you've been talking about from Romania. Not Romania.
No, that's the Hungarian one.
Okay.
Yeah, Unicum. At some point, I'll just go get you the bottle. It's around the corner. I can go get you the bottle so you can see it. Unicum is, imagine you mixed shoe leather with turpentine, and you get Unicum.
Oh, great. Okay.
But Malort is basically turpentine with rubbing alcohol.
I'll be buying all my Modelo's because they're doing it again with those great commercials. The only beer commercial that's ever. Oh yes,
that's what I'm drinking now.
All right, hats off, my friend. Awesome. I'm actually sober again for the 2nd week in a row. But the good.
I just wanted to bring up again. Canada is being accused of espionage by the Honduras national soccer team ahead of their game, saying that Canada has been cheating and secretly videotaping their practices.
Is it true?
I have no idea, but that's what they said, which is funny because that's going to get into my good. My good is the next week, the next 10 days is the beginning of the crazy World Cup qualifying season. It's like 3 games in 2 weeks, a break, 3 games in 2 weeks, a break, 3 games, 2 weeks, all over and over and over again. Usually it's much more spread out because of COVID. It's really, really quick. And we're going to find out there are going to be a lot of great games really fast here. Like today everything started up again. Ireland is just out already, which is very frustrating. Like 3 games in, they've lost games they should not have lost. But like Bosnia got a point against France today. There's some real good Slovakia, Slovenia tied. There's some really good games today, and CONCACAF starts tomorrow. So we'll see. I'm predicting Canada does make the World Cup.
You did say that, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm predicting your team has gotten significantly better, and I don't feel as though I think the U.S. is better. I think Mexico is still Mexico. I think Canada gets the 3rd spot, and Costa Rica and Honduras are both on a little bit of a dip. So those guys can be battling it out for 4th, and then have to play New Zealand or whoever it is for the spot in the World Cup. But yeah, I really think Canada's going to make it. But all that starts this week. If you love soccer, this is a great thing. The bad thing is you need the Paramount Plus network in order to watch any of the U.S. games here.
Paramount Plus.
Yeah, I could tell you that is channel 241 on AT&T, or what do we even call our satellite thing? DirecTV. So on DirecTV, it's channel 241. But yeah, it's on Paramount Plus. It used to be the NBC Sports app, but they changed the name. NBC Sports Station. So if you're looking for it, the U.S. plays tomorrow against.
I thought NBC was Peacock.
It is Peacock. Maybe it's CBS Sports. I don't even remember.
There's just so much stuff out there. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
None of which I pay for.
Good for you.
Yeah.
World Cup qualifying CONCACAF. So yeah, Canada and Honduras play tomorrow. U.S. plays El Salvador to start off. So it's a hexagonal. It's becoming octagonal. But U.S., Canada, Honduras, Costa Rica, Mexico, Jamaica, Panama, and El Salvador. 3 make it. 1 has to play another country to get in. I don't know who it is, whether there's half a spot for Oceania, so basically New Zealand, because Australia has gone to Asia. So it's New Zealand, and as long as they can get by Tahiti, they should at least get into that game. Then there's half one for North America, half one for Asia, and a half one for
South America, or is it Africa?
South America. Yeah, no, Africa just gets the 5 spots, which is insane because there are so many great players coming into Africa. It's so hard to. People talk how tough it is to qualify out of Europe. It's way harder to qualify out of Africa.
Right.
Yeah, because they have groups of they have 25 countries. You play each team home and home for 5 groups of 5. Group winner goes. Everybody else is done. So if you're and they're 8 to 10 countries which should qualify for World Cup out of Africa. If you get another one in your group, you're screwed.
This is gonna have 32 teams, right?
It does, yeah. And the one after this in the U.S. is going to have even more. It's going to be 48. So it's going to be in the U.S. and Canada. We're going to split it between 2 countries. So Canada automatically makes the next World Cup. Congratulations.
Oh, well, there we go.
There we go. So anyways, that's my good. Just soccer coming back here. I'm the big soccer guy on this podcast, but I'm very excited for what's happened over the next few days, or next 10 days. The bad. So I know I make fun of the Jets all the time because they're New York Jets.
Winnipeg Jets, come on, we're doing really.
Oh, no.
Okay.
You will never hear me make fun of the good people of Winnipeg. But I call them the New York Jets all the time because they're so bad. The New York mess is even worse.
Oh, yes.
That franchise has been a poverty franchise for a major market for years. And if it weren't for the incompetency of the Knicks, it would be a bigger deal. They are a mess. Always. They're always a mess. Sandy Alderson thing was a mess. Like everything is always a mess there. So earlier this week, they had El Mago, Javi Baez, who they traded for from the Cubs, was tired of getting booed. When they traded for him, they were in first place by 3.5 games. They are now no longer in first place. Let me actually pull up their
I think they dropped to third. I think the Phillies overtook them, and then the Braves overtook them both.
Yes, they both did. So they're 5.5 out. The Braves are in first. Phillies are in second. And the wild card standings, they are. Hold on a second. Wild card standings, they are currently 5.5 games behind the Reds. So they have to pass Cardinals, Phillies, Padres, and Reds to get the wild card. So it's not looking good for the Mets.
No.
And consequently, Mets fans, who also happen to usually be Jets fans, are booing their players. And Javi Baez and Kevin Pillar and what's his name, Reyes, now all went with the thumbs down back to the fans when they as a anti-celebration for the fact they're getting booed, which the team came out pretty hard against, right? Much harder against than their general manager this morning, I guess at like 4:00 in the morning, was arrested for drunk driving when he passed out at the wheel of his car, Zach Scott, as he was leaving the Connecticut home of team owner Steve Cohen. So a fundraiser for the Amazing Mets Foundation was being held at the house, and Scott and the players were there, and he was arrested. And I will tell you, the statement that the Mets made about the thumbs down was far harsher than the statement they made about their general manager driving drunk.
You know, though, who stops these people at this point from themselves? Like, clearly nobody. I mean, we've seen this over and over. I mean, it wasn't all that long ago. I think in his last year, was playing, or was he a coach? Jason Kidd in the same area.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not like you can't afford an Uber or a driver, or I don't know, maybe the guy whose house you're at, he's got a buck or two.
I don't know. You think Steve Cohen's got an extra room in whatever his house is?
Or something. I mean, save yourself the embarrassment. I mean, like, I'm a drunk. We know this. I podcast while drinking. That doesn't affect anybody other than make Evan laugh here and there. And he's got to carry my dead ass. Which he's done.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the only time it was real bad was when you fell asleep during the baseball one, but that's okay. So,
which I'll own. And I'm okay with that.
Yep.
It's part of my charm, but I don't hurt anybody.
Mm-hmm.
This is, it's a level of entitlement I can't really understand, because you're clearly getting away with this a shit ton of times.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, Tony La Russa passed out at the wheel of his car at one point, and that didn't matter apparently either. It's crazy. But I just want to read you the two statements from the Mets.
Yeah, please.
So here's Stanley Alderson on the thumbs down. Mets fans are understandably frustrated over the team's recent performance. The players in the organization are equally frustrated, but fans at Citi Field have every right to express their own disappointment. Booing is every fan's right. The Mets will not tolerate any player gesture that is unprofessional in its meaning or is directed in a negative way towards our fans. I'll be meeting with our players and staff to convey this message directly. Okay, pretty strong, not over the top, but pretty strong statement.
Yeah,
here's
what you'd expect.
What?
What you'd expect.
What do you expect? Here's their statement on the DUI. We were surprised and deeply disappointed to learn this morning about an alleged DUI involving Zach Scott. We take this matter very seriously. Zach will not be with the team for upcoming road trip while we learn more and examine the next steps.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. At this point, I'd want to. Oh no, the trading deadline's already passed. If I learned of that, I'd call them up like right there in the morning. It's like, I got this great deal for you.
Yeah, they need to clean house on their uppers. I mean, Cohen is certainly a better owner than they had with the Wilpons, who were.
That's not hard, but yeah.
No, honestly, like ownership in New York pretty much sucks. except for maybe the Maras, but like all the rest of the team's owners suck in New York. But
yeah, my buddy
Cohen can clean house, but he needs to take this opportunity and just get everybody out of there.
One of my good friends, who's Dave, he's a big Knicks fan. He says, like, I'm done until they get rid of Nolan. I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't support this team anymore.
Nolan just runs the Knicks so he could support his singing career. So, but I mean, again, it's just like the difference in reaction. Like thumbs down is Mets will not tolerate any player gesture that is unprofessional.
Mm-hmm.
GM gets arrested for DUI. We're surprised and deeply disappointed. Like one's a level 8 on the scale of 10. The other one's a 3, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and one's a crime and the other one is someone just being upset about being booed. The Mets are a mess.
Yeah, this is supposed to be a year where they change things around, and it still could be, but nah.
But if you're a player, why would you want to go to that organization right now?
I don't think you would.
I mean, other than money, right? Like that's it. That's the only reason to go. Well, so they are the New York mess once again, and they are the bad of the week.
And the ugly is very money related.
The ugly is very money related, and you're gonna have a lot more to say about this.
I might not.
The ugly is someone we've talked about on this is actually the good side of the ugly, if that makes sense, and that's Jake Paul.
Which is hard.
Which is hard. Jake Paul. This is how bad the ugly is. Jake Paul is the good guy in this story. So Jake Paul fought Tyron Woodley, former MMA champion. In a match
recently, he only lost his title like 2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, not long ago.
Mm-hmm.
So he fought him, and there was a big card. There was undercards with other interesting bouts. Jake Paul took less in that fight so that he could pass it down the cards to the other players or the other participants on in the fight for that night.
Mm-hmm.
There are some questions as to whether or not the situation was rigged. I will just put it that way. The word rigged was trending on Twitter.
I don't think so, but it wasn't the most enjoyable fight. Maybe the decision was could have been in question, and there's certainly more money to be had.
Right. Well, the rigged part wasn't that Jake Paul didn't deserve to win. The rigged part was that Tyron Woodley took a dive in this situation to try to make it good, because this was the biggest purse in Tyron Woodley's career. Let me repeat that. This was the biggest purse in the former MMA champion's career, was going up against a recently involved in fighting reality TV star. Or not even reality TV.
Reality TV, yeah. It's
internet star, right? Yeah. Dana White, get your shit together. Yeah. You are. I'm going to say this. I am not an MMA watcher at all. The last MMA fight I can remember watching all the way through was accidentally in Washington, D.C. in 2009. My wife and I were playing bar trivia, and there was a fight on TV where one of the guys had like a blonde afro, the best way to describe it.
Mm-hmm.
It was bleach blonde afro. And at the end of the fight, the bleach blonde afro was pink from all the blood.
Mm.
And I was like, why would anyone ever watch this? And so I'm not someone who does this. But if you're going to consider yourself a major fighting organization, pay your people. Because this is fucking embarrassing for your brand.
And sadly, although it's almost one of those open secrets, or not even a secret at that point. Unless you're in a top MMA guy, you're not making that much. You're really not. It's actually kind of an embarrassment how little you are making because of the sport itself. You're not generating also a lot of endorsements either. Amazingly, I don't know how Conor McGregor, with all the stuff he gets into, has managed to have as many endorsements as he did, or still does.
Mhm.
But yeah, he made way more money when he fought Mayweather in a fight that he had no business participating in.
Correct.
And so Connor's one of those, call him an asshole, and he'll own it, but he's been a very vocal proponent of that. Another guy who just retired because it's not worth it anymore. A guy who beat pretty much Connor almost out of the sport, Khabib. God, I can never pronounce his name. Nurmagomedov was really the best fighter going. But, I don't need this. And it's gonna remain a problem until it may always be a problem. We may never see this fixed because there's no other organization that's remotely close. And it does say something weird about fighting, and then boxing for that matter, that you get a gimmick fight that makes more than like everything. Actually, I think on that undercard was like legit boxing matches, like for title or yeah. So I mean, like it wasn't like a gimmick card. Like this was. They're not going to be making a whole bunch of stuff that they should. It's the biggest issue with really all combat sports. And I think even when we talked about our fictitious, athlete Hall of Fame, you look back at all those old sports movies with the tragic boxer, and it's all the same theme, just the crooked promoter. Nothing's changed.
Well, here's the difference. So MMA is saying that it is the heir apparent to the old boxing crown. The Alis and Listons and Sugar Ray Robinsons and Tysons and Holyfields are all gone. Nobody cares that much about boxing.
Not like they used to, not
close. Like they used to. Yeah. MMA wants to believe it is the combat sport of the future. But if an YouTube star can come in and give your champion, not some random dude, your former champion, by far the biggest payday to take a fall for him, that is a problem with your organization.
If you
Dana White either needs to get his shit together or get the hell out, because MMA is going to flounder as if that's the situation. Because this is a ridiculous black eye to them.
Sadly, we've seen all this shit before. I mean, like how many decades did we look at Don King fleece his fighters? And everything you're saying is 1,000% correct, but it'll survive. Great, congratulations. Which is why it's the ugly.
At this point, the WWE seems less fixed.
I could have gone on a whole shit box and just the whole WWE imploding, but
the WWE is a mess.
That would mean I've been watching it lately, and it's
it's
next to impossible to watch.
Well, I mean, with all the people who they're just letting leave and everything, it seems like they're trying to fold up shop.
Yeah, or set themselves up for a sale, which is what a lot of people are thinking.
They're just stripping off non-performing assets to whittle themselves down,
or something. I mean, like I don't know. I find it kind of unwatchable these days. I'll watch the big shows, and coming from a super fan that I was, that's shocking. I thought I'd never stop watching. I've stopped watching.
Wow.
For the most part.
Well, the good news is hockey starts later this month, so
this is true. This is true. So this is the part where we close and we self-promote.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
blatant self-promotion.
Yes, blatant self-promotion. I'm getting a lot better at that. It's not always my strength, but I try. If you haven't already seen it, this crap was on national TV. Chris Bernay and we looked at The Master. Because what happens when you take a 58-year-old immobile white guy and say, hey, let's make him a ninja? You get The Master.
You get most action flicks from the 1970s.
Or Steven Seagal now.
Yeah. Yes.
I think we've picked another episode. We're going to look probably at the pilot of Joni Loves Chachi.
Wow.
Yeah. So that one could be a lot of fun. We just did on How the Hell Did This Go #1. We just recorded I'm Too Sexy by Right Said Fred. Yeah. And I had a special guest, Kenny Casanova, who is a former pro wrestling manager and author of many books. And he helped me get out my project, the Chavo Guerrero Sr. The late, great Chavo Guerrero. Before he passed away, I helped him out with his autobiography that was sort of sitting in my laptop for a while. I finally got permission from the powers that be to let me put this out. And Kenny, without Kenny, it wouldn't have come out.
Hey, you are a published author, my friend.
I am a published author, yes. And also recently recorded Vinny Lospinuso, the wunderkind of the Hall of Fame. He makes the Hall of Fame case for Doc Adams, somebody who's been dead for 200 years or something like that. And how does Vinny do this? He's 22, 21, and he knows about all this stuff. He does, and he's great at it. So all of this on notinhallofame.com. And if you haven't checked it out, do so. If you haven't voted on all our stuff, do so. And if you're not staying safe, do so, whatever that means for you.
Yeah, absolutely. The last thing we need is more. There's too much crazy stuff going on, guys. Just everyone breathe safely through a mask, hopefully, and stay safe.
All right.
It's getting crazy out there.
Mm-hmm. Take care, everybody.
All right.